I'm Carissa,
Hey, I'm Maddie.
and you're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to
Dreadfully Twisted. Hey guys, I am so sorry that we've been really delayed and that the last episode was uploaded like a week after it was supposed to, and that we've been gone for a couple weeks.
Yeah, and then I wasn't feeling good, so it was just like one thing after another. But
Yeah.
we are back.
Yeah, my grandma passed, so I needed like a little bit of a mental health break. So
Yeah,
I
it
apologize,
was
but
needed.
we are back now.
We
so.
are back.
So today we're gonna take it a little bit what's the word I want to say, relaxed or laid back, I guess,
Yeah,
because
that's a good one.
we're just gonna tell stories today.
This one is more of a spooky episode.
With one story of something that could be true crime that happened to me when I was 7 that I totally forgot about.
Oh, yeah.
And my sister reminded me of it, and I was like, wow, I must have blocked that out because of trauma. So, I don't know if you want to go first, or if you want me to go
Good.
first, or if you want to talk about how your
ahead.
week was.
My week was pretty boring. I mean, I kind of felt like crap, so I've been like taking it easy, but
Yeah.
I'm back to feeling better, so.
Well, that's good. I went back to overworking myself.
Oh, no.
I decided that it was time to get back into my crafting business because now I have 2 craft shows next month, and then my sister is getting married next month. Yeah. She decided last minute to okay, so I'll tell the story. So my dad passed away in 2021 from COVID. He was 50, and his birthday was July 13th. And we went to the cemetery, and we were having a good time. I was with my 3 sisters and my one sister's husband, and she was talking at the cemetery. She's like, I kind of want to get married next month whenever we go to Deep Creek for those couple days, because it was my grandma's idea, and my grandma was supposed to go with us, and we're going with my pap and like my uncle and stuff. So my grandma's not going to be there, obviously, because she just passed away. I know I said that like so coldly, but I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens because
Yeah.
like I'm still like not processing it, and it's just like, I don't know. So it doesn't feel real. But anyway,
Yeah.
we were at the cemetery for my dad's birthday, and then we did all of our stuff there. And then, she was talking about it, and then I rode with her. So Kira and I were driving to Red Robin because that's where we were going after. And she was like, do you really think it would be a good idea to get married in Deep Creek? And I was like, I don't see why not. I'm like, if you feel like you want to do that, then you should do that. And actually, let me grab this book really quick. Okay, so I grabbed this book. So we were driving to Red Robin from the cemetery, and she was like, yeah. So she called her fiance, and he was like, is that what you want to do? And she was like, yeah, I think it is what I want to do. And then she was like talking to me. She got me this angel numbers book, and she said, I woke up this morning at 7:46 in the morning, and she was like, I don't know why I remember that. She was like, can you look up 7:46 in that book? So I did. And this book says 7:46. It's labeled big decisions. The steps you must take have been revealed. The choice you need to make presently has already been decided in your heart. Your angels validate that you know what to do. Looking within is the only work that is left. Today, ask the answer to reveal itself in meditation.
Aww.
So it was literally her like saying, yes, you should get married.
That was literally like the most. That is crazy.
Yeah. And then after that, okay, my aunt's name is Ray Lynn. We literally see a truck after we decide, like after I read this to her, that says Ray Lynn, and we've never seen that before. And then after that, an Ozzy song comes on, and my dad loved Ozzy. And then me and Kira were like freaking out in the car, like throwing our like hands around. We're like, oh my god! And then my other sister was in front of us, and she was like, what were you guys doing in the car? And then she was like, well, I decided to get married in Deep Creek. And she was like, what? So we told her all these things that happened, and it was just like, I felt like I got chills the whole time that I was doing it, but like as we were like there, yeah, so she's getting married in Deep Creek.
Aww,
and
I love that.
I feel like it was because like
That
my
was a
grandma
sign.
was like, yes, you should, because the reason why the Ray Lynn thing was important was because she wanted my uncle to marry them, and that is my aunt's husband, but like my uncle's actually like my dad's brother, but that's like his wife is Ray Lynn. So the whole thing was just like, yes.
Aw.
Like, you know, like it was just like, I don't know, it was just like, I don't know, it was beautiful. Like,
If that wasn't like a sign and like
Yeah.
meant to be, I don't know what is. Like,
so like it was definitely a sign from both my dad and my grandma, because one,
is so sweet.
she knew that like she was saying that she should get married in Deep Creek. It was my grandma's idea in the first place, and she was like saying, yeah, Uncle Leon can like ordain you and blah blah blah, and then like it was just like, so like the whole like the Raylan was my grandma's sign, Ozzy was my dad's sign, and like,
Yep.
you know, it was just like everything.
Aw.
It was just like, I was just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that story was like amazing, and that just happened on Thursday.
I love that.
So we
That
did,
is,
yeah, well, not last Thursday, but the Thursday before that, because
Yeah.
today's the 21st. But yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna go dress shopping and find Kira a
Aw.
dress, and we're gonna so I've also been busy with that, trying
Yeah.
to plan this wedding. Well, it's not really gonna be that big. It's only gonna be like 15 people,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be like me, my boyfriend, my 3 sisters, their people,
Mm-hmm.
and then my uncles, my pap. So it's just
Yeah.
gonna be like the
Mhm.
basics of the family. But yeah, that was just like, I forgot about that.
I love that. That
But
is,
yeah,
like,
I love
the-
this book if you ever want to read it. And like it's also cool too,
Yeah.
because like at the back it says like angel numbers log,
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
like it starts off, which also is crazy. It's like, have you ever noticed yourself waking up at exactly the same time every night? I wake up at the same time
Oh
every
my
single
God.
night. Every single night I wake up between like 2:30 and 4 o'clock
Oh
in the
my God.
morning. And it's just like, so I've been like looking
The
at
answer
this.
is yes.
So yeah. So that's a crazy story that happened.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah, it's very like happy
That
story.
makes me so happy. I probably would have cried like happy tears. I'm like,
I literally, yeah, and then like when we got to Red Robin, she texted my aunt. She was like, so she's like, would it be possible if we do get married in Deep Creek? And all she sent back was eek. Like she's like, she was so excited. It's so cute. But
Aw,
yeah. But
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so cute.
so yeah. Now we can go into our other stories.
Okay. Yeah. No. Oh yeah. What was the true crimey one?
Okay, so I'll tell that one. I'm probably not gonna tell it that great because I honestly don't remember it, and my sister told it. It's kind of really short, but I was like 7, so this was like in 2000 and like 7 or 2008. I was like 6 or 7, so it was like 2007 or no 2006 or 2007. And I don't know if you remember my one house. That was like I don't know if you've ever been there. But it was after we lived above the store. We moved into this other house where, like, the lower half of the house was ours, and the other top of the house was somebody else's. It was like a duplex thing, but it was like up and down, not like side by side. And there was not supposed to be anybody upstairs. And my mom and my dad worked a lot, so they were never home. So my older sisters, they always had to like watch me and my other sister. And this lady who was on drugs, she comes downstairs. She knocks on the door, and I remember like being behind my sister,
Yeah.
like the twins, I think, because my older sisters are twins, so I'm gonna like address them as the twins because it's just so much easier. But yeah, the twins were standing in front of me, and then I was standing behind them. I do remember this like vaguely, but this like lady, she's like on drugs, and she's like cracked out of her mind pretty much. And she was trying to tell them that I was her daughter and that they kidnapped me.
Oh my god.
She was like, that's my daughter. She's like, you stole her from me. She was like, she's
What?
like, I need to take her upstairs right now. And I like was trying to like leave because I was like, I'm just doing what I'm told. Like I'm 7 or 6, so I don't know what's going on. And my sister's like, no, this is our sister. Like, so they were like arguing with this lady that's like on drugs, and she wasn't even supposed to be upstairs in the first
my
place. There was
God.
not supposed to be anybody living there, so we don't even know where she came
Yeah.
from. And so then my sister calls my mom while she's at work. She's like, there's this like lady trying to steal Carissa. She was like, what do we do? And at this time, okay, so if I'm 6 or 7, so the twins are 8 years older than me, so that would make them like, however old, how old would that make them? Let me do the math because I can't math in my head right now. I work today, so like
Maybe like 13, 14?
yeah. So I was like 7, plus 8. So yeah, they're like 15, 14 or 15.
14, 15,
So like
yeah.
they call my mom and they're like, what do we do? This lady's trying to steal Caressa from us. And I don't know why she was trying to steal me. Like I guess it's because I don't know.
What did I do?
Like, well, yeah, what did I do? And I was crazy trying to like go to her. So then my mom calls my cousin Josh, and then he comes. He's like a little bit older than him. I don't really know how old he is now. I think he's like 40 something now. So he was like a couple years older than my other sisters. So they were like, he was probably like maybe closer to 20. So he comes over and he saves us from this lady, and he stays with us till my parents get or my mom gets home, because my
good.
dad was a truck driver.
Yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, so I almost got stolen when I was like 6 or 7. I completely forgot about that. I forgot about it. I didn't even know that it happened. Like, I literally forgot. But yeah, so I can't believe, like, when my sister reminded me of that, I was like, yeah, I remember now. I remember that lady trying to like steal me whenever I was 6 or 7.
Well, I'm glad that she didn't steal you.
Yeah, I don't, who knows where I would have been now. But yeah, that was so crazy.
That is crazy.
And like, I can't believe I forgot about it.
Me at 7, I probably either would have ran, started crying, or started screaming. I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one. One of
I'm
the
just
three.
glad I wasn't outside, because this is probably like around like 7 or 8 o'clock. So,
Yeah.
and I think it was like, I believe it was during the summer, because I remember it being sunny. So like, good thing I wasn't outside at this time. I think I just came in from being outside or something.
Yeah.
So like,
Good thing
that's
you-
probably why she was trying to steal me, because she saw me, but she might have been on drugs, or maybe she was acting like she was on drugs or something. I don't know.
Crazy. That's terrifying.
So terrifying.
I don't know why that reminded me of this. It has nothing to do with the story, but I don't know. It just like brought a memory back into my head. But do you remember in like 2016 when there was like a
Oh
clown scare?
yeah, I was terrified of
Me
clowns.
too. Oh my gosh. First of all, I had like the biggest fear of clowns. Like even watching them in movies, I'd be freaked out, like terrified.
I'm not scared of them
Me
anymore.
neither.
I used to be scared of them until I worked at Demon House, and
Yep.
then I was a clown for like that season, and I was like, oh, I'm not scared of them, because everybody
Yeah.
thinks I'm Harley Quinn, and I was so annoyed because I have blonde hair. I was like, I'm not Harley Quinn, okay?
You're supposed to be scared, okay?
Like they painted my face to be like Pennywise, because that's whenever Pennywise came out again, when they like redid it.
yeah.
So they did my face as that, and everybody's like, oh, you're so cute, you're a Harley Quinn. And I was like, I'm not Harley Quinn. I was like, just because I have pigtails in and my face, it looks like a clown's face, does not mean I'm Harley Quinn. Like, seriously.
You're gonna have to carry around a red balloon.
I was like, thank you for thinking I'm cute, though, but like, I'm supposed to be scary. So I can't pretend to be a clown, because everybody thinks I'm cute whenever I do that. So I'm not scared of clowns anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that did terrify me,
Oh
because
my
like,
God. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember I was
Well-
at the park one night, and that was like whenever like it was like going on. And I was terrified.
well, in 2016, I was, depending on when it was, I was either 16 or 17.
So I was like
Because you're 2 years younger than me,
Yeah.
right? So you were like 15 or
15
14.
or 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was with my friend, and we like got there, and it was probably like 5:30 or something like that. Well, it was like starting to get dark early, and we were literally at the park for like 15 minutes, if even, because it started getting dark, and all I can think of, there is going to be a clown hiding in those trees over there. Like, because it was all trees, and I'm like, I could just see clowns hiding in those
Yeah,
trees. I'm
and,
like,
like-
I can't.
And at that point, your
Terrified.
imagination's just like, this is going to happen to you and you're going to die. Like,
Yep.
And you're like, I'm really not, though.
You automatically think the worst. Like, I've
Yeah.
seen too many horror movies.
I'm just like paranoid anymore. And oh, the thing that happened to me today. Okay, so this was, okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but like I've heard of stories where like traffickers will do this. So earlier, I got a weird phone call, and then I got a voicemail from a Dallas, Texas number. And we live in Pennsylvania. So, and it was a foreign guy stating that my resume matches a job offer that they have, but I couldn't make out like what company he said or whatever, because he had an accent, of course. And like I know for a fact, like I didn't apply for any job at
Yeah.
Texas. So I think it was a scam call, but it was weird. And I looked up the phone number and nothing popped up. And like the voicemail was so vague, and it didn't say like what position it was or anything. And it was like he sounded like he said like, we have a job offer that seems to match your resume that you would be interested in. And like employers don't call you
Yeah,
for like things, you have to reach out to them. But it was just like so sketchy, and like I don't know, I just know that like traffickers will pretend to be like a job
Yeah,
offer, but like
yeah.
at the same time, like, how did you get my name and phone number?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Like I don't know. So I told my sister, and she was like, just ignore it, because like
Yeah.
It's not like anything. And she says she gets them all the time. And I'm like, but that was scary. Like, a lot of traffickers do that.
I always get calls about the car I don't have.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Your car warranty.
yeah, my car warranty. You're gonna be waiting a long time, buddy.
But yeah, so that happened to me, and I was like really freaked out, and I was just like, I'm glad I didn't answer the phone because I was going to, but I was like, it's a 467 number. I would like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't answer it. Plus, I was at work, so I was like, okay. And I listened to the voicemail, and I was like, this is really terrifying, like,
Yeah.
because I heard of a story because I listened to other podcasts, and there's this one story of somebody saying like they had the same thing happen to them. And then they went to go, like, meet the person or whatever, but, like, it ended up not actually being a job. And, like, it ended up, like, being, like, traffickers or whatever. And I'm just like, that's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Like, how they're trying to, like, get people now.
I know.
And I'm like, what if I did answer the phone? What if they got my location at that point? And, like, I was, like, so scared. It's like, I'm paranoid all the time.
Me too. I just never answer the phone half the time.
Oh,
I'm
I don't-
always scared.
Unless you're in my contacts, I'm not
Yep.
answering the phone.
I'm like, you can leave a voicemail if it's important. Like,
Yeah, and I've got so many phone calls in the last like few days, and I'm like, nope, no voicemail, you're not important.
Yeah.
But I'll still like try to look up the phone number, and I'm like, nothing's popping
Yeah.
up, so you're probably a scammer anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. So that happened to me today. So good thing I didn't get stolen both
Yeah.
times.
Thank God.
Okay, I really want to hear the story about your mom. You were gonna tell that story about your mom.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now we're getting into the spooky stuff.
Okay,
Here
spooky
we go.
stuff starting now. I mean, that
Spooky
was spooky
time.
before, but it's
yeah,
getting
it was spooky.
it's getting
Just a
even spookier.
different, different kind of spooky. Just like real life spooky. This one's like paranormal spooky.
I love paranormal spooky.
Oh man, this one's crazy. So it's like real short, but so where my mom works, it's like near like train tracks, and obviously train tracks tend to have like,
Oh yeah, I used to live by
Spirits and stuff.
train tracks.
oh man.
I used to live right across from train tracks.
But yeah, so a bunch of stuff happens to my mom at work. Like the calendar will fly off the wall. Sometimes she gets tapped on the shoulder.
What does she do for work?
She's a hairdresser.
Oh, I forgot about that. How could I forget? Oh my god, how could I forget that? Oh my god, I feel so stupid now.
Okay.
I should have known that because she used to cut my hair all the time. Again, I forget things because of trauma.
Yeah, trauma just,
I feel so stupid.
here goes my mind.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, stuff happens all the time. Like, she gets tapped on the shoulder. One time, it, like, really freaked her out because, like, she had her hair up one time. It was, like, whenever her hair was longer, of course. And she felt somebody blow on her neck.
Oh, no.
And she turned around, and there was literally nobody there. I was like, I would have ran into the back room.
I mean, I feel like somebody's always watching me. So if
Yeah.
I had that, I would probably just,
Yeah.
like, pee myself.
And the one time she was leaving work and she was walking to the car by herself, and all of a sudden she hears, like, from the distance, like, it sounds like somebody's running, and it keeps getting closer and closer to her, and she turns around and there's literally nobody there, and it sounded like someone was, like, running towards her, and she said it sounded like it was getting closer and closer, like someone was running towards her, and there was nobody there. I said, did you run? She was like, I never ran so fast to my car. I was like, I would have too. I would have probably, like, screamed and, like,
This was at night?
I don't know. I'm not
Because
sure.
if it was at night, it would have been even scarier.
Oh, yeah, if it was at night, I probably
Because I had something like that happen here
Oh,
at my
boy.
house, but...
Yeah, that really would have done it for me. I've been terrified.
Like, my eyes
was
were watering
horrifying.
during that. I don't know why. Like, it's not like I'm gonna cry, but, like, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Like, that's so scary.
It is.
Oh. That's freaky.
Yeah.
I had something like that kind of happen here at my house. So I park in the back, and it's kind of like an alleyway with, like rocks and stuff. Like, it's like an alleyway, but, like, nobody ever uses it.
Mm-hmm.
So I parked back there by our shed, and it was at night. I was coming home from my grandparents' house, like, probably, like, a few months ago, because I used to always go on Thursdays, but, like, now I just try to go whenever I can, because I've been busy and stuff. But I just still try to see my pap, like, all the time, you know. But I'm gonna actually see him tomorrow. But anyway, I was coming home from my grandparents' house, and it was, like, dark. It was, like, 8 o'clock, so it was, like, a couple months ago, whenever it was getting dark at, like, 8 o'clock. And I was walking in from my outside, and, like, it's a little bit far from my car to my house, just, like, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's, like, it's probably, like, I don't know if it's, like, 20 feet, but it's pretty far.
Yeah.
And, like, I knew the light was on because Jeremy was making dinner and stuff, and then I hear whistling.
Oh no.
And I have a
Oh,
really
no.
big yard, and like it's pitch black because I can't see anything because we do
God.
not have a spotlight. We only have a light on the porch, and I like was not in the porch, but
Mm-hmm.
like I was like in the middle between like halfway between my car and halfway between like my house, and I heard whistling, and I was like, and I just got that like weird feeling of like your hair standing up,
I would have got chills.
and I was
would've
like,
had chills.
okay, I'm scared because like there's nobody outside right now. Like I couldn't see any of my
Yeah.
neighbors and stuff. I couldn't see because
Like
it was
pitch
dark,
black.
and I was like whistling, and I, like the first thing I thought was Skinwalker,
Oh, God.
and I was like running to my car, like running into my house. So I ran in the house, I shut the door, I locked it, and Jeremy's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I swear there was something outside just now." He was like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "No," because like at this time I was also listening to a lot of like spooky paranormal podcasts because the one podcast I listened to, they were talking about those things, and I was just like, it was just like fresh in my mind, and like I know that they pretend to be other people, and like that's what I thought of whenever your mom heard running.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
I know, that is terrifying.
But yeah, so that happened to me whenever, and like my house is haunted. It is.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that whenever we were looking at the house, we bought it in 2020, and I went back because it was probably like 2021, I think. No, it wasn't 2020. It was 2022, like beginning of 2022. I decided to like look into like my house a little bit because I was looking at my county's assessment like website, and I was looking at my house, like the parcel numbers and stuff, and then I realized that our property, like our house is one lot, and then the other side of the yard that's really big was a second lot, and I didn't know like on the like Zillow listing it said 2 lots. So I went back to the Zillow listing to look it up because I was like, did they say that it was 2 lots of like property?
I
So I
remember
didn't know.
this. This is terrifying. I remember you telling me this.
Yeah. So I went back to Zillow. I was looking at the pictures, and then I looked at the first picture, and I was like, what's that by the tree stump? I zoom in. It looks like a little boy from like the 1920s in this picture, okay? Like it literally like looks like it does not look like an actual boy. It does not like
is
look like an
terrible.
actual like
That
little
is just
kid.
crazy.
Cuz who would like come take pictures of the house and let their kid run in the yard?
Yeah.
And in the next picture, he wasn't there.
And what would the point be of photoshopping that? I don't think it would be photoshopped at all.
No, I don't. I literally think it's like a ghost little boy because
I think so too.
that also goes in with my one friend used to like stay here because she needed a place to stay, so I let her like stay at my house, and she has a now almost 4-year-old son, but at the time he was like 2 or 3, and she woke up in the middle of the night and she thought she heard him crying, and
my
she
gosh.
looked over like on like the one side of my living room, and it looked like he was like sitting up crying, and she was like, oh, and she like turned around to get something, and then she turned back around, it wasn't there, and then she turned her head the other direction, and her son was sleeping in my dog's bed.
Oh my god.
So she literally saw a little boy
Oh
crying,
my god. Like
and then
sitting up too. That's scary.
I was like, why are you telling me this? But then my boyfriend's mom walks into my house, and she was like, your house is haunted, isn't it? And I was like, I guess so. She's like, yeah, you have an old lady living in your house, because she's kind of like, she's sensitive to that stuff, so
Yeah.
she knows, like, she can feel things.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, I have a little boy and an old lady.
Maybe it's her grandson.
Maybe, you never know, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know, and I always get the feeling of somebody watching me,
Mm-hmm.
especially if I'm in my bedroom, like working on my crafts or whatever. My
Yeah.
back is towards the door, and Jeremy's always in the other room. The animals are always in a different room. Yeah, my cats are in there, but they're not sitting there staring at me, but it literally
Mm-hmm.
feels like somebody's standing directly behind me all the time, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Thankfully, there hasn't been anything like malicious.
No, it's definitely not malicious
Yeah.
at all. Like, I feel like everybody that walks in my house, from what I've been told, that my house feels homey, and it feels like
so homey.
safe. So like, I'm like, and that's why I picked this
Yeah.
house, and it's probably because, and even like my boyfriend's mom, she said like, your house, like the old lady's not here to like get me or
Yeah.
get us or anything. She's here to like protect us. So I'm
Aw.
like, oh, that makes me feel good. Like I
Yeah.
have like a nice.
It's like having a little Casper with you.
Yeah. But like I've never, other than that, like I haven't, oh, I totally forgot about this story, but I haven't had like any other experiences besides this past year.
Yeah.
I could tell it, but I don't want to be like talking the whole time.
It's okay. Good.
Okay. So this past year, my grandma's birthday was in February, so we went over to my grandparents' house and we celebrated her birthday. It was a Monday, and so then we come home. Well, I come home because I only went, and then I come home, and I was like sitting there thinking like, about my grandparents. I was like, they're having a hard time right now. Like, my grandma was kind of sick. She was on dialysis and stuff. We just didn't think it was like as bad as it was. But so she couldn't really like move around as good as she could before. So I was like thinking about like, oh, I'll go over like anytime I can to like help him around the house, because my pap had made a couple comments saying that he wanted to get like a maid or something. And I was like, no, you're not letting anybody in your house because they're gonna steal from you. Like, why would you want to do that? Because like you guys leave stuff everywhere. Because I was like, no, I'm gonna help you like as much as I can. And like I've been wanting to anyway. It's just I was so busy with you know, working a full-time job and having a side business and all that. It just gets a little bit too much. But I was like, you know what, I don't really care about that. I'm like, I'm just gonna worry about like my family right now. So I, as much as I could, I went over and I was like thinking about that. I was like, I should. And then I get a shower, and then keep in mind, we just celebrated my friend's birthday at that time, like a month before that. It was on January 15th we celebrated, and this was February 6th. The balloons were still like intact, but they were like kind of deflating, and the 3 of the balloons were in the one corner of my living room. And then the other balloon was, like, over there, like, a little bit. Actually, no, it was, like, right there. It was in front of my curio cabinet by my TV. A little on the other side of the living room a little bit. It's really hard to, like, explain it. So I went to go get a shower. And how my house is set up is whenever you first walk into the house in the front, like, the front of the house, it's the living room, then the kitchen. And then there's a side door on, like, the left-hand side of the kitchen. And there's stairs on that left-hand side of the kitchen. And my living room is like 16 feet maybe, I don't know, or whatever, not 16 feet, it's like, I don't know how it's big. It's big. Okay. I can't tell measurements, but it's big. My kitchen's like the same size. It's pretty big. So you have to go through the living room, through the kitchen, and then go up the stairs. And then once you get to the up the stairs, my bedroom is right above the stairs, and to the left is the bathroom and then our game room. So I come out of the bathroom and I go back into my bedroom and stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking about my grandparents. And I was just like, it was on my grandma's birthday, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just sitting there thinking, and then I'm like, okay, I'll go downstairs now, because I was getting a little bit too much in my thoughts. And then I turn around to leave my bedroom, and I see this balloon floating up the stairs. Not like it looked like somebody was carrying it. Like, literally, my dad was like 6 foot, like 4 or whatever, so it looked like it was like his height carrying it up the stairs, and this balloon said happy birthday on it. So I was like, okay. And then it like literally comes into the bedroom, and then like it turns like a sharp like 9-degree turn into my bedroom in front of me, and I'm just like sitting there like, oh, did this just happen? Like, I just was like trying to process it as it was happening.
First of all, that balloon would have had to make a turn to even get up the stairs.
Yeah, it had to make a turn because there's like a wall there. There's a wall in my kitchen of the stairs, so you literally have to turn around and go up the stairs.
And balloons don't turn like that.
And this balloon was already half deflated, so there's no way it would have made itself up the stairs already. And the other fact is, I grab it, I come back down the stairs, and I look at Jeremy, I'm like, this balloon was just in our bedroom. And he gives me this weird confused look, and he was like, what do you mean? I was like, this was just in our bedroom. And he was like, no. He was like, what? And he was like, I literally just looked up 30 seconds ago, and it was sitting right there. Because he looked up, saw the balloon, was like, okay, and he started watching his YouTube video. I come down the stairs, probably like maybe like 40 seconds into his video, and he was like, there's no way that balloon got upstairs by itself. Like, he was like, there's no way. And the fact is, too, keep in mind, he does not believe in anything paranormal. And he literally looks at me straight in the face and says, what if it's your dad trying to say happy birthday to your grandma?
Aww.
I literally lost it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and it was him confirming, like, yes, you should go over there and help them, you know? And like, even now, like, I feel like somebody's like standing behind me, like, you know, like, I was just like, it was like a crazy thing. And I literally was like, and I felt like a sense of like happiness. It was like crying, like, because I was sad. Like, I was also happy because I was like, he was showing
happy
that he
tears,
was,
but also sad tears.
because he was showing that he was here. And he was showing, like, yes, you should help your grandparents, and yes, happy birthday to her. Like, you know,
it's just so nice.
It was
like,
just like,
it's probably like a big relief, like, you know, that he's still like here with you.
Yeah, I was just like,
even
oh my
you can't
gosh.
see him,
Yeah,
you know?
like, it was just like, it was like so emotional. But like, that was like the craziest thing that's probably happened to me in a really long time. And it was like the craziest thing that's ever happened to me at my house that is currently, and that's not even like by like the actual ghosts that haunt me, like, you know, like haunt the house. It was for my dad. I mean, he still like kind of haunts me and stuff, but like, you know, like, it was just like, it was crazy, and that like actually happened to me.
I love that story.
I know some of my stories are just like happy and lighthearted, so like I didn't want to make it too scary, but like, but yeah.
Oh man. This one time, I can't remember. think I was in 11th grade, 10th or 11th grade. I can't remember. My friend that I was like really close to. We went to this Italian restaurant, near where we live, and
It's really hard not to say
it is. It really is.
Because it feels like we're just talking. It doesn't feel like... But I don't want people to know where we live because, like, we don't want to dox ourselves here.
We don't want to get stalked. So we went to this Italian restaurant, and we're just sitting there, talking, and...
Was it the Italian restaurant we went for your birthday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
I drove past it the other day, and I was like...
It's a Bible place now.
I was like... I remember the statue. I was like, Maddie and I were there.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember like making a weird face and like saying that statue was like cute or something. I don't know. But, like, I remember doing something.
You have a picture in front of that. You have a picture in front of that guy.
But anyway, I'm sorry.
So that was the place. Now it's like a Bible place. I don't know what kind of, some kind of religious place. Oh, that's all I know.
Okay. But the statues.
Yeah. That's where it was. But they changed the name. I can't remember what they changed it to. But anyways, so we were there, and all of a sudden, I feel something brush against my back. Like, and when I tell you, it was not like a light brush. Like,
it was like a...
Yep, like that's how it felt. But it was faster. It was like that. Like, and you could tell that it was something. Mm-hmm. And she looks at me, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, "You felt that too?" And she goes, "No, I seen something right behind you just a second ago." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "I seen like a black shadow like just fly behind you." I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me," because I just felt something fly and brush my back. Because yep. Like,
I got like the whoop feeling in your body. I got chills and goosebumps.
I was like, oh, I couldn't even fathom it. I was like, what is going on?
Oh my.
But yeah, nothing else happened while we were there. But that was like enough to freak me out. I was like, what is that?
That would freak me out
like,
too.
Just the fact that she seen it and I felt it at the same exact time. And she looked at me and I looked at her. Like, we just both knew like something was going on.
It's like...
Yeah. It was just so weird. That was crazy. Yeah. That was like the most recent, I would say.
Yeah. I think. The most, like, besides the story of my dad, or what I thought was my dad, whenever I was 4, we lived in a really haunted house. It was above the store. Lynn Superette. You're not going to find it by that name, so good luck. But we call it Lynn Superette. And how it was the top floor was our, like, apartment thing. And to come from my room, you had to go through the living room, go through the kitchen / dining room, turn left, and then turn right, and then turn another right to go into my parents' room. And there was like a bathroom and a closet there. But I was like 4 or 5, and I remember this vividly. People are probably gonna think I'm crazy, but I did have a ghost friend.
Aww.
But everybody thought he was my imaginary friend. But every time I described him, I described him as like a friend of my mom who just passed away. So like, yeah. So, but I was this person that I saw this day probably wasn't the same person because I can't really remember what he looks like now. But I just know this happened because I can't remember like the vivid details. But I remember waking up in the middle of the night. I woke up and I saw somebody standing in my doorway. And at this time, I shared a room with Kira, and my bed was like on the other side of like the room, and I could see the doorway clearly from where I was because it was kind of like this. It was like the doorway was like there, and my bed was over here, and Kira's bed was by the doorway. I look up, I see somebody standing in my doorway, and I'm like,
oh my God.
What?
I would have freaked out.
I started crying, and I like went underneath the blankets, and I waited until he left. And then as soon as he left, I ran to my mom and dad's room, and I was like, I woke up my mom, and I was like, I just saw somebody in my doorway. Please, like, and she was like, you're fine. Like, she's like, this happens all the time. Like, she was like, you're fine. Like, I mean, she just knew like I like saw stuff. So like, but as we were walking back to my room, we had to walk in that hallway again and through the dining room / kind of kitchen area. We used to have a water cooler. My mom was walking by the kitchen and she heard something boiling and she was like, what's going on? So she walks into the kitchen and she sees our water cooler like boiling. Like the water was boiling and it was like melting through the plastic. The plastic was melting. And so she unplugged it,
Mm-hmm.
and then she walked me back to my room. But all of us believe that night that ghost woke me up because he knew I could see him, and he saw that the water cooler was boiling, and he was like, I need to wake them up. They're gonna die in like a fire, because if we would have waited any longer, it would have boiled over and it would have caught on fire. So we all believe like he woke me up because he knew I could see him, because I was little, and he was like, I need to save this family, pretty much, because it was about to catch on fire.
He's a hero ghost.
Yeah, he saved us. I could have died again.
Another Casper. What the heck?
Yeah.
It's adorable.
But like, yeah, so like that happened, and like we knew that house was haunted because my sister Jocelyn, if you walked like from the kitchen, if you walk straight, there was another hallway that led back to another bathroom, and then on each side of the bathroom was my twins sisters, their rooms, and Jocelyn was on the right hand side. And walking down that hallway was wooden closet doors, and she would hear them move at night. And like at night she could count like, okay, that was Carissa walking, because I would have like little pitter patters, and then she was like, okay, that's Kira, because it's a little bit heavier but not as heavy, like pitter patters. And then Jackie was right across the room, so she knew Jackie wouldn't really walk. And then my dad was like heavier, and then my mom was heavier, but they had a bathroom by their room, so why would they walk all the way to our bathroom? So like she knew, okay, that was their footsteps, that was their footsteps. She knew every single footstep, but there was a set of footsteps. She did not know who it was, and whenever this set of footsteps walked, it made the whole entire closet doors shake.
Oh my god.
And she was like, okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
And the one night she said she would sleep with her TV on, you know, for light, and she had her bed against the wall, and then she, like, if she would lay from her bed like this way, she could see the door. She said the one night she woke up and she heard the walking again and the footsteps and like the doors rattling, and then she hears the footsteps walk into her room, and she had like a little bit of like a wall there, so you had to like peer over it. She said she saw a black shadow figure go like peer over like this.
Oh my god.
Stare at her for like 30 seconds, go back, and then walk back down the hallway.
Well, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and she was like, what the heck did I just witness? So she said that she went under the blanket, and then she just like hid for the rest of the night. She was terrified. I was like, I would have been terrified too.
Me too.
Like, at least I saw an actual person.
Yeah,
like, you just saw a shadow figure. Like, that's terrifying. That's so scary.
Like the one my friend seen brush against my back.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of it. But I'm just like, that's so crazy. Like,
shadow figures creep me out because you don't know what it is.
yeah, most of the time they aren't friendly.
Yeah.
But the fact that like we all love that apartment and love that house, like we didn't want to leave, but we had to. We all loved it there so much, and we felt safe there. So it's just weird that.
Was it like a shadow guy who you seen in the
No,
doorway?
I saw an actual person.
Oh, it was a person in the doorway?
It was a person.
Okay.
I just can't remember the details of their face. It was an older guy, but yeah, I remember seeing an actual person standing in the doorway.
Definitely coming to save you guys.
Yeah, it's just like so crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy because I'm like, I could have died when I was 4. Like I don't know. Just like he knew I was gonna run to my mom, wake her up. She was gonna walk me back, and she was gonna hear it like boiling. And now to this day, like I'm terrified to have a water cooler. I'm like, I'm terrified to have a water cooler. And my sister's like, well, because they all have one. My grandparents have one, and my mom has one again. But they're all like, if you can get one without the heat setting. I'm like, yeah, but what if it still like boils over? Like I'm scared. Like I haven't had one since I was like 4 because I'm terrified of it. But because I unplug literally everything before I leave for work.
Oh yeah.
So
me too. I'm like so paranoid.
Yeah.
With that kind of stuff.
And then I check the ring like every hour at work. I'm like, is the house okay? Is the house okay? Is the house okay? Because like
I'm like always making sure like the plug or like my extension cord isn't touching anything.
Yeah.
If it touches, like, I'm like, oh my god, if it touches the curtain, everything's gonna catch on fire, and then the house is gonna go up in flames. And then
I'm like, yeah, I have 4 fur babies here, so I'm like, they're my children. If I like, I can't even think of that.
I think like the only other thing that's really, well, I wasn't really aware of these until I was older because I was too little to know what was going on, because I was only like 3 or 4, so I was too little to even remember. But my mom told me about these. I had 2 things. I can't remember, it wasn't in the same year, I don't think, but I had, oh, it might have been the same year, I don't know, but I had a Fisher Price like phone, like a flip phone.
Yeah.
And I think it had the eyes that like go like, you know,
That
back and
freaks me
forth.
out.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And so one day, I can't remember where it was, but she hears the phone going off, okay? So she goes in, you know, to shut it off or whatever. There's literally no batteries in it.
Oh my gosh.
She checks, and the eyes are moving.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, right out of here.
Absolutely not. And there was another Fisher-Price toy that did the same thing, that there was no batteries in. I think it was a toy piano that was going off.
That's crazy.
That is, yeah.
That happened to my sisters. They had a Buzz Lightyear and it didn't have batteries and it kept going off because it just kept going off. This was at Lynn Superette too.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think it was. But yeah, it didn't have batteries and it kept going off.
Oh my gosh.
And then, I was at my mom's house not too long ago and we were sitting there, we were talking about my dad.
Mm-hmm.
My parents have been split up since 2011 and they did not get along, so it was just nice that she was talking about my dad like in a nice way. So like I was just like, okay. But she was just like telling us stories and stuff and then we were just talking. And then this fire alarm that they have in like their one spare room was like kind of in the kitchen. It was like a little bit farther, like a little bit like it was like the living room, then the kitchen, and then this spare room was like in the kitchen kind of. And it was this fire alarm was going off, like it was like there was a fire happening. And we're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So we go try to find it. We find it. It didn't have batteries.
Oh my god.
And we're just like, okay. And like as soon as we find it, because we were trying to find it, we couldn't find it. It was like hidden. We finally found it, and as soon as we found it, it stopped going off.
Oh my gosh.
It was
Oh my
so
god,
weird.
as soon as you found it, that
Yeah.
was crazy.
It was so crazy. I'm like, I don't know if it's ever went off again, but yeah, it was.
My cousin, she had she had these two dolls. I don't know what they were because I was not alive, I don't think, when she had them. But
I was not alive yet.
I was not alive yet.
I say that too, and then really quick, I used to say that all the time to my grandma. I was like, yeah, I wasn't alive yet. She's like, you mean you weren't born yet? I was like, no, I wasn't alive yet. She was like, you weren't born yet. I'm like, I wasn't alive yet. So that just reminds me of that. Like, I'm glad you say that too, because like I feel like I was the only one, because even my sisters.
I say that all the time.
I'm like, I'm really like, that's why we get each other.
Exactly. This is why we're besties, guys.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead. You weren't alive yet.
Yeah, I wasn't alive yet. So, she had these two like dolls, and they played. Okay.
Talking is hard.
Talking is hard. Let me form a sentence correctly. Hold on.
If it's possible.
If it's possible. Let me regroup my sentence. Okay. So she had these two dolls, and they played patty cake.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to touch hands to be able to, like, you know, work. And, like, I guess that it sung patty cake, maybe. I don't know.
Patty cake.
Yeah. But, so one of them was upstairs in my room, and the other one was downstairs. And I had a toy box downstairs when I was little. Mm-hmm. And it was, like, in there. So they weren't even near each other. And I think you can guess where this story's going.
They started singing patty cake.
Yes, they did.
Across the house.
Yes, they
Because
did.
they were friends.
Yes, they did.
Oh, that's so freaky.
Yeah. That happened with my High School Musical dolls, too. You remember, like, do you remember the ones, they had, like, a little microphone, and you had to put it next to their mouth
Yeah,
to be able to
for them to sing, yeah.
It was singing, and my microphone wasn't anywhere near it. It was downstairs in a bookshelf.
It was going off. It was popping off with
Exactly.
its voice. It was like, whatever the High School Musical
I
song
was like,
is.
okay, Sharpay, pop
We
off.
are in this together.
Together.
I wasn't a High School Musical fan. I was a Camp Rock fan, so.
Oh, Camp Rock is where it's at.
But I know like that song.
Yeah.
That's freaky. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that would actually happen to me, like at this moment.
I feel like toys coming alive is just terrifying.
That's
to
freaky,
me.
because like, what if Toy Story is real?
Yeah.
Like, what if
Test the theory.
you're actually like not watching and they're just like having the good old time, like partying, and you're just like, okay, and then like you go back in the room, and then they stop. Like, what if it's actually real?
I should have set up cameras back then.
I know. Like, I want to set up cameras in my house just to see like if I could catch anything,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like, do I really want to do that though?
If you do catch something, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I was
did
like,
really want to see that?
I didn't want to see that. I just pretended. Like, I was faking. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool though, because like I love paranormal stuff, but like it also freaks me out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I
Yeah.
love it.
Me too.
But, like, I'm also like not scared of it,
Me
but I'm
too.
also terrified of it.
It's like I'm terrified of the malicious spirits,
Yeah.
and like, you know, somebody running up behind you. That's terrifying. I would have cried.
They're trying to get you.
Yeah, exactly. And, like,
or somebody whistling at you. And
yeah,
you're just like,
that's
what?
terrifying too.
Oh, jeez.
But like, if it's just like regular like poltergeist activity, it doesn't bother me. 'Cause
Yeah.
it could literally be like my grandma hanging out in the kitchen or something.
Yeah,
like,
and like now, like for me, it's different. Like I'm like, please do something. Haunt me. I want to know, like, if you're there. Like,
Yep.
like, oh, let me tell this story. My pap told me. It's really cute. He told me this on Sunday, and because we saw him Sunday, we were over at my uncle's, and he was over there too.
Mm-hmm.
It was like last week sometime. Well, last week before that, before Sunday. He has this cross that my grandma had. It lights up. It looks like the cross on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like this shape. Because my grandma got it because she couldn't get a tattoo of my dad, because we all got matching tattoos. That my dad actually had this tattoo, and we just put his writing in it and stuff after he passed away. My grandma couldn't get a tattoo, so somebody bought her this like little like LED light. It was a cross, and it lights up like red, purple, green, whatever color you want it to be. And my grandma always had it red because my dad's favorite color was red. So it's now that cross is on this stand with my grandma's urn because she was cremated, and my pap had my cousin change it from red to blue because he was like, it's time to change the color. He's like, I want to change it to blue. I want to change it to something else because it just feels right. So he changed it like 8 days before this happened. So they changed it to blue, and then he like leaves the house. It was blue, and then he was like, okay. He does some running around. He comes back in the house. He opens the door, and as soon as you open the door, like you come into their living room from their sun porch. You come into their living room, and you first thing you see is that light. He walks in. It's not blue anymore. It's like a greenish white-ish color. And there's no way you can change it. You have to press an actual button on the thing to change it. And no one was home. He left it blue. It wasn't like on a multicolor thing either. It was literally blue. He leaves, comes back, and it's greenish white. And he
didn't like that color.
He literally was like, oh my gosh. And he just like sat there. He was just like, he teared up. He was like, it was grandma. He was like, she was like, she didn't want it to be blue. She wanted it to be greenish white. So now it's still greenish white. And it's like, oh, that's so sweet. But like, it's also like, sometimes like my pap, he's just like the cutest. But like, I just feel so bad for him, you know, and thinking about him, and whenever he talks about her, because he loved her so much, I tear up because I'm just like, he's just like the sweetest person ever. But I love him. I hope he knows how much I love him. But like, it was just so cute, like watching him tell that story. And it was just, Have you ever had vivid dreams of somebody that passed away?
Oh yeah,
I have them all the time.
I had it as soon as one of my friends passed away, like a week or two, like right after.
Oh jeez. Yeah, because I've had a couple dreams of my dad, and it like seems so vivid, you know. And my sister, she just had one last week, like right around the same time this happened with my pap. We were at my grandma's house. I'm going to tell it because I don't know if she'll ever get to be on here. I don't think she would mind if I tell this story. Yeah. But she was at my grandma's house, and she looked over, and she saw my grandma sitting there. She was like, oh my God. She was like, how are you here right now? And my grandma looked at her. She laughed. She was like, what do you mean? And, you know, being how my grandma normally is. She was like, what do you mean? She was like, I'm always here. And then Kira said that they talked in the dream, but she can't remember what she said or anything. But like, just knowing that my grandma said that to her in the dream, I'm just like, she's always here. She's always here.
It's such like a comfort because, you know, like, I actually believe whenever you have those kind of dreams, like, they're trying to contact you, like, tell you that they want to tell you something. For
sure, because, you know, you're actually not supposed to remember your dreams. Really? The only reason you remember your dreams is because it was a message.
Wow. That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the one where I was little and a giant high heel was walking around my grandma's house? What kind of message was that?
What about my dream that I had a couple months ago where I'm just gonna tell this dream because it was absolutely crazy, and this is just a little bit about my mind. Maybe it was just my trauma, my childhood trauma, but let's see. I had this dream. I want to know why I remember this dream. Okay, so I woke like this dream. I was standing in my living room, and I was getting some Amazon packages. And it was already weird from the start because normally I get Amazon packages on my side porch. Yeah. Not my front yard. Not my front porch, but this was in my front yard. They delivered it into my front yard, like right in front of like the like in the grass. I was just like, okay. So I went to go out to get it, but I was just like, there's this weird Jeep looking down the road, you know? And I was just like, I look out the window and I see like this like long like limo Jeep. And there's this guy with a shotgun out of it shooting people in the street. I was like, okay, I'm not going outside to get my packages. I don't want to die right now. So I literally closed the curtains and stuff. And this guy's like willy-nilly shooting people in my dream, like all up and down the street. And I like tell like my boyfriend, like in my dream, like, Jeremy, like there's somebody shooting outside. He was like, I don't care. I'm gonna go get a shower. I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna get a shower in this? And I'm just like, all right. So then I look back out the window and I see him like down the street that like that way. And then I see him get out of the car because like they were leaving. I was like, okay, they're leaving. I was like, that's good. But then like they come back, they turn around, he gets out of the car, and there's this person walking, and they're like glowing. This person's like glowing, and then this guy shoots this person, and then a nuclear bomb goes off.
Oh my god!
And then I just remember in the dream, I was like, oh my god, my sister lives 2 blocks away from me. I text her in my dream. I'm like, are you okay? And then like as soon as I text her, in the air, it's like all. Have you ever seen like Ant-Man? Mm-hmm. So it's like the quantum universe. Yeah. So it literally looked like that. And then I texted her, and then looking like in front of me, I just see dots trailing to where she is. I'm just like, what the heck? I wake up and I'm like, what was that dream? And I think maybe it was because I did just watch Ant-Man like that night or the night before. But I'm just like, why did I have that dream? Why did I have a dream about like a nuclear bomb going off? What was the message in that?
Exactly. Like some dreams, it's just like. Tell me what the message was.
Yeah,
I really do not know.
I don't want to try to decipher this on Google. Like, what was this dream about? Why did I have it? And like, I've had like other like crazy dreams. Like whenever I was like 8, I had a dream about my sister getting murdered.
Oh,
like,
I had creepy dreams like that. I was little.
Why? Too. What was the message in that?
Yeah.
And then, really quick, because this one's hilarious. We were living in our old apartment, and this was a dream that I had there. And when you first walked in to the house, like the apartment, it was like a duplex. You walked into the living room, and then you walked into like a little like thingy, like a little like square, and then the stairs was there, and then you'd go into the dining room and then the kitchen. But in this dream, I look outside and like World War III is going off. Like there's airplanes, like there's bombs going off everywhere, and there's just like people shooting. I'm just like, okay. So I walk back in. I went to go get my cats and my dog, and I like walk into like the living room, and I like, try to go up the stairs, and I see this guy standing at the top of the stairs with my cat, and I was like, oh no, you don't. So I get a gun out of nowhere. I shoot him. I grab my cats. I save my cats. I'm like, oh, we gotta go get Loki, because I remember Loki wasn't with us. Loki was at my boyfriend's mom's house for some reason, and I was like, okay, we gotta go get Loki. I was like, I'm saving the cats, and I was like, I just shot somebody to save my cat. So what was the thing in that? Like, what was the message in that?
Moral of the story, we love our cats.
Moral of the story, I'll literally kill somebody for my cat.
Yeah. Like, we'll do anything for the kitties.
I don't know why I had that dream, and I'm just like, why do I have weird dreams? Like, what did I eat the night before? Like, I think the night before the like the Quantumania World War III like explosion nuclear bomb dream I ate a quesadilla. So should I just not eat Mexican food anymore? Like, that's my favorite food. Like,
you're gonna have to like do a study.
I would love to know. So if you have like weird dreams, lucid dreaming is also another thing.
Yeah,
that's terrifying. I've heard so many stories about that. But if you have any stories or dreams, please tell us, because I want to know. Like,
email them in to us.
Is your life as like weird as ours? Are your dreams as weird as ours?
We want to hear your stories. Send them.
Did you almost get abducted whenever you were 6 years old and get like by like a drug addict?
Yeah. Or, did you feel like somebody was running up behind you, but there was nobody there? Or, have something brush against your back?
Yeah, because
your friends seen it?
Yeah, because I would love to, like, read those.
Yeah, me too.
And tell them. Like, that would be crazy. But I didn't realize that our stories would last an hour.
I know.
I had some stories to read. I guess we could do 3 episodes if we wanted to.
We can just make an ultra long episode.
Because we're recording another episode after this.
Yeah.
Because we felt bad that, we've been gone for like 2 to 3 weeks.
For a while.
And I'm trying to, I feel bad. I feel like we should be on a schedule.
Yeah, me too.
So we're going to record right after this. So, yeah. But if you do have stories, please email them to dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Reddit group I made. It's just Dreadfully Twisted on Reddit. I have no idea how that works, to be honest, because I've never used Reddit before.
And I think we're Dreadfully Twisted Podcast on Instagram, Facebook.
Oh yeah, it's Dreadfully Twisted Podcast at
YouTube.
At Dreadfully Twisted Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can find us wherever you find podcasts.
All those social medias. Actually,
the Reddit is Dreadfully Twisted Pod. So please go to that, whatever it's called. I don't know what that is. Go to that, because I don't know how to use Reddit. So r/Dreadfully Twisted Pod on Reddit. post your stories there or email them to us. I would love to read them on the podcast because
Yes.
I had a lot of fun this episode.
I know, me too.
It was so much fun. It was so fun. So yeah, and share us with your friends, please.
Yes.
And
Give us a follow, and we will definitely include your stories if you send them in.
and please keep listening.
Yes.
And spread positivity. Be there for your friends.
Yep. Spread
And-
love.
Yes.
Be a cool person that you are.
Bye.
Bye.